This is a presentation of OneLogin training.
Welcome to configuring the Salesforce App Connector. This is the first video in a series of 3. There are 4 main topics that we'll be covering over 3 training videos. In this first video, you'll get an overview of exactly what we are trying to set up. It's always good to know where you are going before you start out on a journey. We'll also learn how to add the basic Salesforce App Connector and complete the initial configuration steps. In our second video, you will learn how to provision users into Salesforce from OneLogin. This step can be a bit complicated, especially if you have existing users in Salesforce, which I am sure many of you do. Lastly, our third video, we're going to configure single sign-on to Salesforce so that users can go directly from the OneLogin portal to Salesforce whenever they wish. So first, an overview. Our first goal is to enable provisioning. With provisioning enabled, a user can be automatically created in the target application, such as Salesforce, whenever a user is added to the app connector, either manually or automatically through a role the user is assigned to. For example, a new user, Joey, might be in the sales department. Mappings fire off when the new user record is created in OneLogin, and one of the mappings sees that Joey's department field equals sales. The mapping then automatically assigns him to the Salesforce role. The Salesforce role is associated with the Salesforce App Connector. Thus, Joey is assigned to the Salesforce App Connector. With provisioning enabled, OneLogin would then connect to Salesforce to make sure that Joey has a user account in Salesforce. If, say, Joey's attributes change, perhaps he's promoted to sales manager, those updates will be automatically sent through to Salesforce. And finally, if Joey leaves the company, he will be disabled within OneLogin, and because provisioning is enabled, he will also be disabled within Salesforce. Once we have provisioning fully configured, our final goal is to configure an end-user experience where they will log into the OneLogin portal, click on the app tile we have created for Salesforce, and automatically get directed to and logged into Salesforce. We'll be working through 3 major steps in order to achieve our goal. This is the order we recommend you perform these steps. Adding in the Salesforce App Connector first makes sense, because you need the app connector in order to start configuring in the first place. If this were some sort of demo or test environment, it wouldn't really make a difference whether we configured provisioning before single sign-on. But in a production environment, if we enabled single sign-on before we configured provisioning, we might have some problems. Provisioning ensures that users have accounts in the target application, in this case, in Salesforce. If we enabled SSO first and a user didn't have an account in Salesforce, their login attempt would fail. Therefore, in production environment, we recommend enabling provisioning before SSO in order to ensure that the users will exist in the target application before they attempt to log in for the first time. Again, a reminder, this video is the first in a series of 3 videos. This video focuses on the first step, adding in the Salesforce App Connector. Video 2 will cover provisioning, and video 3, single sign-on. So let's get to it and add our Salesforce App Connector. To add in an app connector, you need to be in the OneLogin admin UI. From there, navigate to the application page by clicking on the application menu and click Add App. You can search for Salesforce from there. There are quite a few apps with Salesforce in their name. Many are used for very specific use cases. For configuring a connection to the main Salesforce application, we just need to choose the one called Salesforce, as highlighted here. Once you select the main Salesforce app connector, you'll be taken to the initial configuration page. For the most part, you don't have to change much here. The display name is what your end users will see in the OneLogin portal. So unless you want it to be something else, keep the default, that's fine. And because we want to configure the most secure single sign-on option, we're going to keep the default connector version down there at the bottom. SAML 2.0 user provisioning. The only change we do want to make here is to make sure the connector won't be visible in the portal until we are ready for users to log in. So toggle the visible in portal option there to red and click Save. Once you click Save from the initial configuration page, your app page will change, and you'll see quite a few new tabs on the left side of the page. The main setting we need to set next is the login URL that is unique to your Salesforce organization. You'll see the text box for it on the Configuration tab. The first part of the URL is always the same. https://login.salesforce.com ? SO equal. It's that last part, the org ID, that you need to grab to make it unique to your organization. We're going to grab it from the Salesforce Setup dashboard. But let's first take a look how to actually add the app connector. So, as we said, you want to start off in the OneLogin admin UI. From there, click on Applications, click Add App, and then just start typing Salesforce into the search box. Get lots of app connectors with Salesforce in their name, many of them used just for very specific use cases, like if you're using Salesforce communities there, or maybe you've purchased a Salesforce sandbox. But for our purposes, we're going to use the main Salesforce app connector, which is just called Salesforce. So we'll click on that, and it'll take us to the initial configuration page. Initial configuration page, again, we're not going to make many changes here. All we really want to do is make sure our end users don't see the app till we finish configuring it. So we're going to toggle the visible in portal option there, and then go over and click on Save. Now, once we've saved it, we'll see all the tabs appear over on the left-hand side, so we can finish configuring the connector. For now, we just need that configuration tab, and we're going to set that URL. Again, first part's always the same, so all we really need to do is copy and paste into the text box, and now we can go over to Salesforce and find the org ID. So you'll find the Salesforce.com organization ID over in that Salesforce Setup dashboard under Company Information. All you need to do is copy that value that you see highlighted here and tag it on at the end of the URL. So after the SO equal portion, just paste it in there. Now you just need to click Save, and you've completed the initial setup of your Salesforce app connector. So let's go finish it over in my real build. All right, so now we need to go find our Salesforce organization ID. If you do not log into the Salesforce setup dashboard by default and need to find it, you can always get to it by going to the gear in the upper right-hand corner there and selecting Setup. But I'm already in the Setup dashboard, so I'm going to go straight over here to Quick Find, and I'm just going to type in Company. Automatically filters for what I need, and what I need is company information right here. So when I click on Company Information, I'm going to get a whole bunch of information over on the right-hand side. All that I really need here is this value, the Salesforce.com organization ID. So I'm going to copy this guy, and then I'm going to go back over to my OneLogin portal, and all I need to do is paste it at the end of my URL. There we go. That's it. And I'm going to click Save. This concludes part 1 of configuring the Salesforce app connector. Please continue on to part 2 so you can learn how to configure provisioning for the app connector.
This is a presentation of OneLogin training.